Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tackling a sudden, high-stakes reality that, let's be honest, pretty much every homeowner dreads. Picture this. A massive storm is rolling through, right? And suddenly, that humble little sump pump down in your basement transitions from a mere modern convenience into a critical life safety line of defense for your entire home. It is quite literally the only thing standing between your cozy living space and thousands of dollars in water damage. But what happens when that line of defense breaks?
It is the ultimate nightmare scenario. The storm is raging outside, you can actually see the water rising, and your pump is just completely, terrifyingly silent. So now what? Well, your pump might have failed because of a sudden power outage, maybe a mechanical problem inside the unit itself, or it could just be a clogged discharge line. Whatever the reason, the clock is ticking fast. Your absolute top priority right in this moment is to limit how much water enters your home. You're trying to buy yourself precious time for restoration and professional repairs. Panic? That's not going to help, but a structured plan absolutely will. To calm that initial panic, we've got a clear 5-step survival guide directly from the experts. First, we'll cover the sump pump emergency. Second, remove the water safely. Third, stop the water pass. Fourth, prevent long-term damage. And finally, restore system reliability. Okay, let's jump right into step 1, the sump pump emergency.
So this is minute 0. You need to do a rapid-fire assessment to confirm if the pump is actually dead or if it's just jammed. First thing, just listen. A humming sound might mean the motor actually has power, but it just can't turn. Next, look for any visible error signs on the unit and definitely check if other circuits in the home are energized. We really want to rule out a simple tripped breaker here. Finally, check your float switch. Sometimes the thing just gets stuck in the off position right up against the side of the basin. But listen to me, here is a massive warning directly from our source material. If you suspect a jam, do not force the mechanism. No way. If a quick little jiggle doesn't fix it, step back. Do not waste critical minutes playing mechanic while your basement fills up like a swimming pool. Abandon the troubleshooting right there and begin water control immediately.
Which brings us to step 2. Remove the water safely.
Your main goal right now is to keep that water level below key entry points. We're talking basement doors, cinder block seams, floor drains, that kind of thing. But you've got to be aware of the hazards. For safe removal, grab a wet/dry shop vacuum or an emergency battery backup pump if you're lucky enough to have one. But please, beware of the extreme hazards down there. You're facing severe electrical dangers if you try working in standing water with energized circuits, not to mention the massive, massive risk of contaminated sewage.
Because of those extreme hazards, I need to make a stern safety interjection right here. Do not become a casualty trying to save a piece of carpet. Seriously, avoid working in standing water where electrical equipment is involved unless you are 100% confident the power is safely shut off at the main breaker. And hey, if the flooding is significant or if it looks contaminated, your instructions are crystal clear. Prioritize your personal safety, evacuate the area, and seek professional assistance immediately.
Moving on to step 3, stop the water path. Here is the harsh reality of the situation. Pumping really won't help if new storm water just keeps overwhelming your efforts. It's kind of like trying to empty the ocean with a teacup. You need to stop the water at its source using an exterior and interior perimeter defense. So redirect those downspouts, safely clear any immediate debris out of your gutters, and make sure your yard's grading isn't just channeling runoff straight into your basement window wells or doors. Now, if water is already coming through a specific interior crack, contain it temporarily. You can use absorbent materials or approved emergency sealing methods for that. Now, there's a tricky little thing that often fools homeowners. A perfectly working pump will sometimes appear to completely fail simply because the water has nowhere to go. So, if conditions are safe outside, check the discharge pipe where the pump actually pushes the water out. Look for kinks, debris clogs, or if it's winter, even a completely frozen line. All right, step 4, prevent long-term damage. Once that immediate surge is under control and the water finally stops rising, our focus really shifts to the aftermath. These are your absolutely critical mitigation steps. First up, document the water levels and affected areas for your insurance company. Take lots of photos and videos. Next, safely remove any valuables, making sure to use protective gear if you even suspect sewage might be in the mix. And finally, deploy dehumidifiers and fans immediately. Mold can develop rapidly on damp building materials in a shockingly short time frame, so drying that space out quickly is absolutely critical. We actually need to pause for just a second to really define hazardous flooding, because this completely dictates how you handle the cleanup. If your basement water contains sewage, meaning water from toilets or backed up drains, it is incredibly dangerous. You must treat this with extreme caution. We're talking heavy-duty protective gear and strictly avoiding any unnecessary contact with contaminated materials. Do not treat a sewage backup like you just spilled a glass of water on the floor. Treat it as a biohazard, for sure. And finally, step 5. Restore system reliability. As the storm completely passes, we need to look forward. We want to stabilize the situation permanently so this never happens to you again. Here's your preventative maintenance checklist. When conditions stabilize, inspect and test that float movement again. Go ahead and clean the gross debris out of the sump basin. Verify the entire discharge line is completely clear. Also, if your pump ran continuously during the storm and just couldn't quite keep up, it's probably time to upgrade your capacity or finally add that battery or generator backup system you've been putting off. And hey, for recurring issues, always consult a qualified professional to assess your pump sizing and your home's overall drainage design. The crucial takeaway of this entire explainer really comes down to this quote from our sources. A storm failure is often a mix of higher than normal inflow and a system that can't keep up, or a maintenance or power gap. Sudden failures happen because systems just get overwhelmed. And that is exactly why safe, temporary water removal and stopping the water path are your very best immediate responses while you work to restore power and pumping capacity. I want to leave you with a thought today. Your sump pump is sitting in your basement right now, just quietly waiting for the next storm. But are you? The knowledge you've gained today from this explainer is your very first step. Don't wait for the water to start rising to realize you aren't prepared. Check your system, understand your emergency backup options, and take preventative action immediately. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay safe out there.